So the party decides to kick out one of their companions because they believe he is just a weakling, treating him badly to the point where he ends up all alone. But hope is not lost, because getting kicked out is just the beginning of an epic journey ahead. So do prepare yourselves for the top 10 anime where the MC is kicked out of the party, but turns out overpowered.
この先出会うであろう危険からこの子たちを遠ざけてやれるかもしれないし。
We're going to be starting out with I left my A rank party to help my former students reach the dungeon depths. The main protagonist, UK, was in an A rank party as a red mage, but the truth is, life was kinda harsh for him since his teammates treated him like trash and mocked him for 5 long years until he finally snapped and decides to leave by himself. And not long after, he was welcomed to a new party of females consisting of his former students who want his help to conquer the dungeon floors. And it turns out that the Red Mage UK was far more powerful than he thought with his extraordinary powers. My good old friend Beast Tamer. Now this is easily one of the most popular anime for this subgenre, and in my opinion, it's actually pretty good.
それは様々な動物たちと心通わせ契約し、その力を刺激する職業だ。
The Beast Tamer is part of the hero's party, but he was so useless in battle with his power just to control animals, so he ended up just getting kicked out. But not long after, he managed to befriend 2 extremely powerful species of a cat spirit and a dragon girl to fight by his side, and both are heavily S rank. But soon, he will then reunite with his party and take on a very satisfying revenge, just to show them how strong he truly is.
そうだ、暗黒兵士ダリエル。わかりました。これにて。
Dariel is a mere low-rank soldier in the Demon Lord's army, and he can't use magic. So, one of the higher-ups actually noticed this and decided to kick out this useless human who can't really do much. But Dariel actually managed to save a young girl from a giant monster with just his raw power and strength. As it turns out, Dariel was not weak, but a powerhouse. Now sure, he can't use magic, but look at the power he has for a human. Now he finds himself in a nice village to live and a wife to begin a peaceful life to chill. Meanwhile, the boss of the army actually wants Dariel back and was so furious that he was let go. Would he choose to come back to his old job or to continue to live peacefully with his family, I wonder? Strongest Tank Labyrinth raid is about a hero's party and of course the story of a tank named Rudd who ultimately gets kicked out and blamed for the failure of the raid because he didn't do enough. But after leaving the party, Rudd returned to his village, back to his clingy little sister to live his life. But as it turns out, Rudd has a hidden powerful secret skill that his party even never knew about that would have been so useful if they kept him in the party. And now without their tank, they will ultimately just fail even harder without their protector. Honestly, who needs a mere weakling chef in the party? Even though he's on par with the leader with level 99, it's just that the leader doesn't want his love interest eyeballing the chef. So, he got kicked out. But now Dennis is still remaining a very powerful adventurer and a chef. He decides to want to open up his very own restaurant and feed hungry people using his extraordinary cooking skills to make his place the best restaurant in town for the best food. However, without his former party eating good food before battle, they will definitely start to struggle without him. I'm gonna have to be straight up honest with you guys. This might have been such a trashy generic revenge anime in my opinion, but I'm not gonna lie, I got very excited from the very first few episodes despite the mixed feeling from many different people.
どうか命じてください。ライト様の望みが私の望み。
My gift level 9,999 unlimited gacha is pretty much a revenge story where the protagonist is betrayed by a guild in a dungeon while thinking he has a skill or power that is so useless because he always just used it up in the surface. But the key to unlocking its extreme power potential was summoning in more deeper and dangerous floors for a much higher chance of summoning rare cards. And with that in mind, Light built an entire army powerful army of waifus and warriors and even beasts. And now he plans to take revenge on the guild who betrayed him and unleash war on this trash world and become the greatest villain that mankind has ever seen.
進化をしているそうだ。だが彼のジョブは話術師。誰もが知る最弱のジョブだな。
The most notorious talker runs the world's greatest clan. The protagonist Noel wants to be the seeker class just like his grandfather, slaying monsters and emerging as a great hero, but instead he ended up with the talker class. To everyone's eyes, a useless class for support. However, using his talker skills, Noel aims to recruit very powerful and strong allies into his very own clan to create the most powerful party or clan that this world has ever seen, pretty much using his powerful talker class that people seem to just really underestimate, since no one really wants Noel or a talker to just join their party just like that. So we all know how healers are one of the most underestimated archetypes in anime because they only use support magic and are very weak in combat. So they end up getting kicked out of the party. But the healer who was banished from his party is in fact the strongest, and yes, the title really says it all. The guy is in fact secretly a damage machine when it comes to combat, but for some reason, I just won't disclose why he's been hiding his real class from his former party members, and because you gotta find out the truth for yourselves. But when he teams up with a cute martial arts girl who actually sees his real skills in combat for the first time, she even wonders why he was a healer in the first place.
この14年、一日も欠かさず鍛錬をして、バリーが少し上達しただけだ。
Here we have a main character that is oblivious or clueless to his own power or strength. Yeah, then you found the next anime to watch, and that is I Parry Everything. A young boy training up in the mountains until he can parry 1,000 swords with one single swing. He believed after all this training, he was ready to learn further by joining an academy and try mastering different things. But all he could do was the basics, and that's it. And he ends up getting kicked out of every academy. But he does, turns out the basics that he learned were all mastered to S rank, and with his mighty awesome strength to wield a giant sword, he is completely still clueless to his own power when it comes to fighting monsters. Now for my last recommendation I have for you all is, even given the worthless appraiser class, I am actually the strongest. And yeah, we all know how the appraisal skill is downplayed in almost every single anime to turn out very overpowered. This is a protagonist who was betrayed by his party and left to die because the appraisal skill is the lowest of the low, and people with it won't really find any success. But the guy wanted to become a hero class, but instead, he got the appraisal skill. However, as it turns out, even with the appraisal skill, he can still become a very powerful hero. And that is the end of the journey and the list. You got kicked out for a good reason, because you were just a weakling after all. So you got replaced by a Chad, and now you are all alone, just like the rest of us. Haha. But if you did enjoy, then please do drop a like, show your support, and subscribe to stay notified of all my latest uploads here on YouTube. Take care, everyone, and I'll be seeing you all in the next one.